With Prismo Metals CEO Alain Lambert. How are you doing, Alan?
I'm great. I'm great. Great to be with you today, Robert.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to speak with you again about Prismo Metals. Tell us about Prismo and what is the vision for the company?
Yes, Prismo is an exploration company. We have three projects, two in Mexico and one in Arizona. They each have something unique, I would say. The, the 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 property that we're drilling now is called Palos Verdes. It's a silver property, surrounded by Vizsla Silvers, who's also our largest shareholder and strategic partner. We have a gold prospect in Sonora State called Los Pavitos, and our copper asset is located right in the heart of the Arizona copper belt. And subject to a financing, it's fully permitted. We should be drilling it. So we're advancing this year significantly two projects, which we feel probably each have somewhat of an inbuilt exit strategy, and can talk about that a little bit later on.
Hot Breccia, yeah, in Arizona Copperbelt. I was there in August. Great location, super interesting drill target. Yeah, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Tell us about the key members of the Prismo team. And, it's not often I see a junior with whatever 15 million market cap, 20 million market cap with such a high level of talent. How did you manage to assemble such a talented team?
Yes, thank you for that question. It's yeah. So let's just talk briefly about those people. So we directly and indirectly working with us are, I think, four doctors in geology. So our chief exploration officer, Craig Gibson's a doctor in geology. He's one of our co-founders. We worked together to put the company together with Peter McGaw, who contributed the gold asset. So he's a doctor in geology. Steve Robertson, our president, is not a doctor in geology, but he's an extremely talented geologist who's worked with big copper projects his entire life. As part of the relationship that we have with Vizsla, we have access through a technical committee that we have created with Vizsla to their VPX, Dr. Jesus Velador. And then the owner of the underlying claims at Hot Breccia is Dr. Linus Keating. And I would say, how we assemble that, I just seem to gravitate towards the best people that we can find geologically. I have a law background and a finance background, and it's very important to me to be surrounded by the best talent and then let them do their job. So it really started between Peter, myself, and Craig, and then we were very careful about who we sort of bring on to the team, and so far it's worked out quite well.
All right, I want to get to Hot Breccia, but before we get to Hot Breccia, you've got a drill in the ground right now at Palos Verdes in Mexico. How is the drill program going there, and why is this drill program so important to the company?
In the past 3 years, we drilled already 6,000 meters and 33 holes at Palos Verdes. So if you do the math, they were quite shallow holes, but with great success. On the west side of the property, we had significant bonanza grades that we announced last year, including one intercept of half a meter for 11 and a half kilo silver equivalent. Sort of the same types of grades and width that Vizsla has seen on the west side of the Pánuco district. And but we were somewhat constrained by the width of our concession, and that's how the relationship with Vizsla was born. I called Mike Connor, the CEO of the company. Great guy, very talented guy. He's built an amazing company, and he invested the company. Vizsla invested in our company in 2023, and created this technical committee I just mentioned. And now we have undertaken 3,000 meters of additional drilling. And so we set up pads on their property. So we're stepping away from our property so that we got a better angle to look at the Palos Verdes vein at depth. So that is what has just started this week, and we are going to be drilling probably for the next 3 months at that property. And every pad is, and every hole is going to be colored on Vizsla's property, and we're very grateful for the great coordination and collaboration that we have with them.
It's not necessarily that often that a peer, I mean, obviously they're a much larger market cap, but another junior mining company will let you drill off of their land, but they're also a shareholder of Prismo. Can you tell us how that came about?
Yes. So I approached them in late 2022, and so that my original idea was, well, why don't you finance us to do more exploration in that part of the district, and we'll give you a right of first refusal on the asset. Their initial reaction was, no, why don't we just buy the asset? And they made an offer and we turned it down, and so we kind of reverted to the investment. So they're involved with us at the corporate level. So they own 9.4% of our company. But they're also involved at the asset level in the sense that they have a right of first refusal. And when you think about it, Robert, we've got 750 meters strike length. The Palos Verdes vein extends to the east back onto their property, and it seems that the structure is dipping down underneath their property. So I think it makes perfect sense that eventually that side of the district is all going to be owned by Vizsla Silver.
Okay, let's go to Arizona a little bit to the north and Hot Breccia. First of all, why is this such a compelling target? I mean, I can explain why I think it's a compelling target, but let's hear you explain it.
Yes. So so a number of factors. So it's right in the heart of the Arizona upper belt. We're surrounded by all of the big guys. So if we have any sign of success, which we think we will have, then eventually we will be, hopefully the phone is going to ring at our end, or certainly we're going to be calling the majors, and we've already talked to some of them, so they're very intrigued in what we're looking at. It's also an interesting prospect in the sense that it's contingent to Freeport-McMoRan, where they have the Christmas mine, which is no longer in operation, but they still own it, and they upgraded some of the reserves there in the last 2 years. And our property was drilled in the 70s by Kennecott, which is now Rio Tinto. And we have a lot of the technical information. In fact, we have all of the information for hole number 1 that was drilled. And then we ran some ZTEM survey. We like what we saw. We're optimizing the results through artificial intelligence. So it makes it for a compelling, very large prospect.
Yeah, basically everything lines up and points to the same potential at depth there at Hot Breccia in these limestones, which could have ignited a pretty powerful chemical, reaction with copper-bearing sulfides that may have been injected up from very deep. And obviously at surface, you have evidence of the copper-bearing skarn, with grades above 1% in outcrop and subcrop. So when do we get I mean, so basically from what I hear you saying and from what I understand, this is drill ready. I mean, you've got your drill plan pretty much lined up at Hot Breccia. When do we get the drill to site?
So yes, Robert, it is drill ready in the sense that it's fully permitted. We know where we want to drill. We're optimizing that plan through AI, as I mentioned. We have selected a driller. The only thing left is to raise the money for it. So it's a $2 million budget US that we have. So round it up to 3 million Canadian. And And with that, we want to do 5,000 meters of drilling. So be it 5 holes of 1,000 meters or 4 of 1,200, the geology is going to dictate that. And regarding the financing, we as in Steve Robertson and I have been working on that very hard. We traveled in August and September, met a lot of people, and it's all coming together very nicely. I think it's going to be done soon. So how soon, hopefully launch in the next couple of weeks, close and mobilize on site and drill. Last thing I'll add, Robert, is, and you were there, you saw it. So access is actually already there in the sense that we might have to plow a few sections of the old road that was used in the 70s by Kennecott to drill. The drilling pads are still there, so it's not a lot of work. We could get a drill on site tomorrow if we wanted to, but we're going to do a little bit of maintenance work on the road. So as soon as, I would say personally, if a few days before we close the financing, we'll make sure that the driller mobilizes on site.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time.